What's up, everybody? This is T. Lee with the Introvert Leader. Welcome to the second edition of Made Leader Mondays. Make sure and follow hashtag Made Leader Mondays. So for today, what I wanted to talk about is servant leadership and what that means. I know for me, coming up, I always viewed leaders a certain way. I always viewed the leader of a team as someone that got, a lot of the recognition, got all the awards and the accolades, and, their name was in bright lights and was on the top of the org chart and got highlighted and all of that, right? And what I've come to realize now after several years of being in various leadership roles and leadership positions is that it's really the exact opposite. Leadership is really about serving others and helping others, right? And so I wanted to share a really quick story, with something that I experienced a few years ago. So I was at a church here in the Dallas area, and there was an event going on where there was a panel of high school students up on the stage at the church. And it was probably about like 100 to 150 people there in the crowd. And so there were three young ladies and one young man on the panel, up on the stage. So the moderator was asking them various questions about a particular social issue that had happened that week. And so the young ladies, when it was their turn to speak, I mean, they were impressive. Like, they were giving some very thoughtful answers. You could tell they really were passionate about what they were talking about, and they had a lot to say. And so the moderator then got to the young man for the first time and asked his thoughts on something. And, when he went to him, he put the mic up to his face and his hand was visibly shaking. You could tell he was nervous. And he sat there for about 15 seconds and no words came out. And the moderator eventually just went on and moved on to one of the other young ladies. And so, she started talking. So this went on for another, probably 10 minutes. The other young ladies, they were talking, they were answering his questions, all of that. The moderator came back to the young boy a second time. And when he came back the second time, exact same thing. He put the mic up, like he was going to say something. His hand was shaking. No words came out, right? And the moderator said to the crowd, to all of us that were there, he said, "Hey, just so you all know, I mean, there's bright lights up here. It's a lot of people get nervous speaking in public, So, hey, young man, you're going to be okay," right? So, he said that. That was a nice thing for him to say and all. And so, the event concluded and they were all getting, they got up to get off of the stage. And I sat there in the crowd. And there was this feeling that was just tugging at me that I couldn't get rid of. And it just kept saying, go talk to him, right? Get up out of your seat and go talk to him. And the reason that I had that feeling is because I was that boy. I know that feeling. I used to be terrified of public speaking. I wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't want to be in front of a crowd at all. And this is something that really started when I was in middle school. There's something that happened when I was in middle school that I'm going to talk about here eventually that really damaged my confidence in a lot of ways when it comes to speaking in public and talking to people. So I could identify with that boy when I was looking on that stage and I saw him and I could visibly see him being nervous. I understood that. It was almost as if I was watching myself on that stage. And to be completely honest with you all, I did not get up and I didn't go talk to him. I sat there in my seat with that tugging feeling and I did nothing about it. And I think about that moment a lot. I think about that boy. I think about the fact that I could have possibly said something that could have changed his life. I could have possibly encouraged him. I could have used my story and I could have used the things that I've been through to possibly help him get through, what he was going through, right? I could have helped him out and I didn't do that. I didn't move in that moment. And I hate the fact that I didn't. And it bothers me to this day. This was years ago and this still bothers me, right? That's why I'm sitting here talking about it. But what I did vow is I vowed never again would I do that. Never again would I be in a situation to help somebody and I don't move on that. So the reason I wanted to share that is, that is what leaders do. That is what leadership is about. Leadership is about what can I do to help people? What can I do to serve people? It's not about you. If you're in a leadership role right now, or if you're someone that aspires to be in a leadership role one day, and if you do view it as, hey, I'm going to get in this role and I'm going to be the one that gets all the recognition and everyone's going to look up to me and, this and that, that's not what it's about. So I just want to clear up that notion right now. If you're out there and you feel that way, it is really about helping other people and what can you do for them. So with that said, I did want to get into 3 ways that you can serve people if you are in a leadership position. And by the way, we're not just talking about being a leader at work, being a leader in your business. If you're in a family, you can be a leader in your family, a leader in your home, right? Leadership spans a lot of different areas of our lives. So we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can be a leader and 3 ways that you can serve people and help people. Okay, so the first one is to listen, all right? Great leaders are great listeners. A lot of times, just in life, everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to be heard. We want people to hear our opinions, hear our thoughts. And leadership is really the opposite of that. You need to learn to listen to people. There are people that are hurting. There are people that go through things. There are people that have things that you would never even know going on in their head. And a real leader, I feel like, is able to bring those things out of that person. They're able to listen. They're able to have empathy. These things are very critical. And these are the soft skills. You hear people, talk about, well, there's skills on a resume. There's things that someone, can do just from a specific job sense and certain tasks they can get done. But there are certain soft skills like listening that a lot of times get overlooked. And one thing that I would say with people with more introverted personalities is a lot of times introverts are naturally better listeners in a lot of cases because sometimes we're not the ones doing all the talking, right? A lot of times we're able to listen and have a certain empathy for people that others may not, right? But if you're listening to this and you're not an introvert, you might be more extroverted. This is for you as well, right? So just making sure that you're listening to people, keying in on, what are they saying? What's their heart saying? How can I help this person? And making sure that you take note of that. Okay, the second way that you can help people as a leader is to fix their hard problems. So what is the hard problem right now they're going through? So if you're leading a team at work, right, and there's some specific thing that they've been trying to work through, they keep hitting the wall, the team just can't get over this hurdle. Well, some leaders, what they would do is they'd get in a room and they would be pointing out orders and directing people to go do this, go do that, right? But a great leader, what they're gonna do is, pull their sleeves up and say, okay, I'm gonna get in the mix with you all. How can I help you all fix this issue? And they're gonna actually dive in and they're gonna help them get it done. And they're not gonna just point people around and give orders, right? So it's really about what can you do as a leader to help somebody? If there's someone in your family that's going through a hard time, if one of your friends is going through a hard time, it's one thing to say what you're gonna do. It's a whole other thing for you to actually reach out and actually go to that person and help them fix what they're going through. So, words are one thing, actions are something totally different. So it's about taking action. What is the hard problem that person is going through? And how can you as a leader and as a person help them to get through that? Okay, the third thing and final thing you can do to help someone is to be true to your word. Or in the words of Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of The 4 Agreements, be impeccable with your word. So what does that mean? So simply, when you say you're going to do something, be sure that you do it, okay? This is huge. This is huge. I try to stay true to my word. If I say I'm going to do something, if I say I'm going to help somebody, if I say I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time, then I do it. It's very key to me because I would want someone to do that for me as well. So making sure that when you say you're going to do something, when you say you're going to be there for somebody, you are there. And trust me, people remember that, and people recognize that, and they're going to see you in a certain light. And on the flip side, if you say as a leader that, hey, I'm going to help fix this problem, or I'm going to help, you all get this done, and then you don't show up, well, that gives an impression too, right? That person is no longer going to have a certain level of trust. You're not going to be that person they're going to go to when times are hard. When the team runs into a wall and they need to get through a problem, you've now lost that trust, right? So being impeccable with your word, staying true to your word, making sure that there's a certain integrity in the things you do as a leader and the way that you lead your team is huge. So remember, stay true to your word. All right, so that is it for today. So again, leadership is about helping people. This is something that I've learned and something that I'm very passionate about. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy, trying to work people through issues and problems. We all have issues and problems in this life. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's got it all together. So I think that one of the reasons we're even here on this earth is to help people, right? And so that is what leadership's about. It's not about you, right? It's about other people. If you're in a business, you're a servant to your customers. If you're at your job, you're a servant to your team. What can you do for other people? If you're in a family, how can I serve my family, right? So again, this might be a different way of thinking. I know that social media and a lot of other platforms may view leadership differently. You may hear things differently, but in my opinion, it's about service. So, hey, this has been Made Leader Mondays, second edition. Be sure in the comments to let me know what are some ways that you feel that a leader could help their team, or what are some ways that maybe even you today, you might be able to help someone that's out there. I'd like to hear some of that in the comments, and we can discuss a little bit. So, hey, this has been Made Leader Mondays. Hope this was helpful, and good talking to you all. We'll talk again next week. God bless.